guilty of crime.
Hello, everybody. What's up? We're a minute early. It's almost 4 o'clock on a Friday. Do me a favor, guys. Hit the like button. Subscribe if you haven't. Get a membership if you can. I'm glad you guys are catching on live. It may be a while before we talk about the Madeline Soto case, evidence, looking at it closer in the Stephan Sterns trial. And then, you guys, we're going to have call ins. So, hit the like button, guys, below. If you want to support the channel, please do. PayPal, Cash App, Venmo, and then Super Chat, Super Stickers, and memberships. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Thank you. It's probably going to be a longer show today since we're going to take calls later on in the show. You guys will tell me who's calling and where you're from. All right. We're going to keep it a ultra positive. I came on earlier to stream and I had to get out all the jitters, but today's Friday. We're going to have an ultra positive, amazing day talking about the Madeline Soto case. Try to answer any questions that you guys might have when we're talking about this case today at hand. 2 trial dates set for Stephan Sterns, guys, and we obviously want more evidence. We want to know if the evidence is going to get kicked out or if the judge is going to deny it. All right. Deborah Brush, good to see you. Henrietta, Mel, what's up, my friend? You know what? I've got new cases coming for next week. And thank you to my friend Mystic Moon, Under the Mystic Moon. That was it you, Under the Mystic Moon, that said that? Yes, guys. Okay. So we got a case in San Jose, literally, and I forgot about it because I have a whole case list. She did an exorcism here at a church in San Jose on her young daughter. Now, what do you think's going to happen when you do an exorcism on anybody, let alone a 2-year-old little girl? So, guys, I've captured some pretty amazing video of this lady that was once a TikToker or YouTuber, and she talks us through why she did that. And then the baby ends up dead. So that is a case. Thank you. Under the Mystic Moon, and all of you guys that I count on every day to show up for the show, be positive, and, make guilty of crime go even farther. We are going to definitely cover the case in San Jose where this lady, which was a social media person, performed an exorcism on her daughter and she died. I have another case. I think it may be in Ohio. Maybe not. Maybe I know it's in the area of this lady that said her son was missing and they find him in a barrel. All right. So 2 of these cases are shocking. The shocking part about the one with the little boy in the barrel is the time that the mom only had to spend in jail. So we want to put that out there. All right. What's up, my friends? How you doing? I'm waiting for everyone to roll in because I know people roll in a few minutes late. Yeah, that's it, guys. And also I wanted to show, before we even get started, for those of you, I know I had a pretty good Patreon following. Thank you, Tiff. Tiff, I hope you're here. Tiff is our mod. She does research for me and she also does fantastic merchandise, you guys. She does fantastic merch. I love it. I have it all over everywhere. We're all wearing the swag. All right. So I want to show you before we get into anything else. Tiff, thank you for signing up for the Patreon. So I started populating Patreon once again. I'm going to populate Patreon with all of my case documents and all the information that I have on the case, guys. Okay. So, yes. And thank you. Let's put that up for a minute. We'll put this in. It's going to go live later, guys. All right. Donate directly to John Walsh and NCMEC because then you know what the receipts are and where it's going. All right. I was going to put up a link that you could donate to and then we donate. But if you donate directly to the John Walsh missing and exploited children, then you know where it's going and how you're helping. And that would be the best thing you could do since, yeah, Medebeck, and you guys won't even believe the way the mother talks and what happened. It's just an ultra crazy case that deserves coverage, you guys. It deserves coverage. So, welcome, Rosie. Good to see you, Michelle. Thanks for sending that email. You guys, I got the mascot potato head, Jen the Potato Soto, lock her up. This potato now has handcuffs on it. We got the handcuffs on it. We got the glasses. We got the eyes being real high. This is the new Jen the Potato Soto. Lock her up. And this was really hard to find these handcuffs. The person that sent this to me said it was the last pair of potato head handcuffs. Well, anywhere in that you can get it in wherever it was on eBay or something. But this is awesome. This is awesome. You take the glasses off and it looks how she did in her interviews. And it's got handcuffs on it. So we're going to talk about that today. We're going to talk about everything we can talk about in the Madeline Soto case now that we're talking about it. All right. Because I know when I'm streaming other cases, people want to talk about it. And, we don't want to break into their time. Now, Grish, I hope he texts me back. I told him that we're going to have a call in. He said he has some news for me. So we'll see if it's good or bad. Hopefully not. I'm streaming. I will probably take call-ins in the next hour or so. Let me know what the bad news is and if I need to share it publicly. All right. So, yeah, Foxy, your man Grish is on the other side of my phone there. Yes, your man Grish. Foxy has a crush on Grish, all right? My God, looks just like it. Isn't this great? The person that sent this to me, okay, perfect. All right, so the person that sent this to me, thank you. They really did think about the details of the handcuffs and the potato, and then they sent me a bunch of troll dolls with different color hair that they want to put on so it looks like Jen Soto. So that's awesome. We've also got the evil Chucky and a bunch of other things here. Hold on. Okay. Okay. Let me just text Grish. Hold on. All right. Appreciate it. LOL. All right. Yeah, Grish is great. We know. I can't wait until new content comes out. So maybe Grish will call in later and just bend our minds, right? Because Grish is like, his videos are like mind benders. I love it. I love it, love it, love it. All right, guys. Some mouse ears would look good too. And I'm sure I have those. Blue Giraffe. Indy Isham, good to see you, my friend. There's a lot of green in chat today, which means a lot of you guys are guilty of crime members. That's awesome. All right. Call him. Okay, so he says if you want me to call in and talk about the Madeline Soto case, I'll call in for a second. He says a second. Okay, I'll message you when we have call-ins. Everybody would appreciate that. Thank you. All right, so hopefully Grish calls in. I'll let him know. You guys, when we open up the phone lines, remind me to message Grish so he can call in. All right, what is up anew from Finland? I'm glad you're awake too. It's a Saturday morning, almost. I'm glad to see you, Jay. Good to see you. Good to see all of you. Thank you for meandering on in. All right, and don't forget, you guys, get those cases over to me, okay? It's guilty of crime by Jay at gmail.com. new case suggestions. We're taking, we want to know all the cases that are so near and dear to you. You guys always send me to the right cases. All right. You guys always send me to the right cases. You guys let me know about Jack and Lily. All right. So let me go to my Patreon real quick. I'm going to show you the new Patreon. It was a little bit easier before because it was Patreon/guilty of crime. But my name is only a few letters, right? My name is only a few letters away. All right, so my name is Jay Scott. I am Jay with Guilty of Crime, JAISCOTT. That's my Patreon. It's right there. Obviously, it's for 18 years and older. It's patreon.com. And if you guys can drop that in chat, Foxy, please drop that in chat. I'm going to do something special for the first 10 people that sign up. I'm going to give something away to you guys. I'm going to give you some kind of merch. Now, remember, I had quite a bit of you guys on the old Patreon that were subscribed and invested into the content. That platform was taken down. We have patreon.com and then Jay Scott. And I've started populating it. I'm 18 and want to continue. All right, so this is what it looks like now. It's not really much different, but Patreon suggested so that we don't have the people that only want to join to troll it, that it needs to be $4.99 and above. So I'm going to make sure it's worth it to you guys if you join, you choose your membership, and that you're able to see all of our collections. We got Scott Peterson, John Benet Ramsey, Stephan Sterns, Madeline Soto evidence, and all Madeline Soto. Okay, so like the Stephan Sterns one, you guys, you got to unlock it, but we got 896 pages. We got the new Stephan Sterns jail calls in there, like all of them, so you can go and read them. And I'm gonna start populating it with much more content and all the behind the scenes things that I use for the episodes to make it worth your while. Okay. Thank you, Susan, for becoming a member. This isn't the second time that happened. This is the first time Patreon, somebody reported me on Patreon. I got taken down, and I think it affects the subscribers more than anything because you guys are all set in, invested, wanting to see the content. And now you guys got to sign up again. And I know it's a hassle, but like I said, the first 10 people that come back and join it will receive something from me that is merch. Okay, so let me log in. Hopefully I'm not showing you my password or anything. And then save. Oh, it's not showing anywhere. Okay, anyway, I showed it to you guys. I left it there. It's patreon.com/JScott. All right. And thank you. Yes, justice for Maddie. Well, there's a lot of stuff in the Patreon content that obviously is about Stephan Sterns, Maddie, Jen Soto. I just am repopulating it now. But if you do sign up, you've got at least 6 different categories with lots of content already. And I think it's well worth the $4.99 to support the channel. Okay, guys. So thank you. Thank you for that. I'm looking at the trial dates, the 2 dates that are set. Let me put that up real quick. Hold on. You gotta love these ads here. Let me just show you. Let's really know when the trial's gonna start. Okay. Almost every episode, somebody asks me, did the trial dates get moved? What's happening with them? So if the ad doesn't come up next, I'll read it to you. All right, let's see. 2 dates set.
Case of the man accused of murdering
all right.
13-year-old Madeline Soto. Dates have now been set for
Philly.
both of Stephan Sterns' trials. A jury trial is set in the sex abuse charges against Sterns for February 24th, 2025.
And the trial for the murder charges against Sterns is set for September 22, 2025. Sterns.
Okay, so we know that's already been changed now. Let's finish this and I'll read it.
Sterns is accused of sexually abusing his girlfriend, girlfriend Jen Soto's daughter for several years. Police discovered thousands of images on his cell phone, allegedly sexually abusing Madeline. Sterns is also accused of murdering Madeline and disposing of her body in a wooded area in Osceola County, Florida.
All right, so I think they might have even changed since then, but yeah, 2025, it's been pushed out. 2 dates set: murdering 13-year-old Maddie Soto, girlfriend's daughter. Say a prayer for Maddie, guys. That's what we're here for, right? Justice for Maddie page, all that you guys doing and the time you invested in. Now, you know, it's February 26, 2024 is when Maddie went missing. We're in 2025 and the trial dates just keep getting pushed out. So, yeah, let's get to the next clip. If you have, let's see, would one of the mods put down the trial dates, the new trial dates, or I can look it up while I'm streaming this. Let's take a look at this. If you guys haven't seen this, it's pretty cool. True crime news sidebar. Gisela was on there, and they were talking about the evidence block. And is that going to happen with the Google evidence? And then I'm going to show you some content from another creator that breaks down the words, and we can take a look at that. So let me put this on real quick. It just came out last week. And I'll put the up-to-date trial dates. Definitely see something, say something. And thank you, Synth, for putting that. Also want to let you guys know, first of all, yes, justice for Maddie. Say a prayer that she gets complete and utter justice, and that Jen Soto gets arrested like this potato that's reaching out to get the handcuffs off, okay? So let's do that, and let's go. Let's listen to this. You guys think about what you want to talk about when you call in. Anu says, I took that Patreon membership. Woo, thank you. I appreciate you. All right.
Joshua Ritter. I'm a criminal defense lawyer based in Los Angeles and previously an LA County prosecutor for a decade. You can find me on all social at Joshua Ritter ESQ or at joshuaritter.com. We are recording this on Wednesday, May 7th, 2025.
All right. So this was a little over a week ago, guys. Information from a defense attorney, which is great to have that perspective, right? Because we're talking about Stephan Sterns being defended, having the case or the evidence blocked, and what he thinks about this. Yes, justice for Maddie. I'm glad you love Josh Ritter. So do I, and Grizzly True Crime, right?
In this week's episode, a 10-year-old cold case ends with the arrest of an attorney accused of killing his own client in an attempt to delay her scheduled trial.
I would like to cover that too, but we're not talking about that. Let's get to this one. I want to cover all true crime, you guys. All right.
To be joined by Gisela K, an author and true crime YouTube creator you can find everywhere, but especially at Grizzly True Crime. Gisela, welcome back.
Thank you so much for having me back on the show. I love being here with you.
No, I love talking with you too. I am a big fan of your YouTube channel. You have created an incredible community over there, and it's absolutely apparent why, because you really do the work and do the research. And so I'm always happy to talk with you about these cases, because I know that you have likely covered them yourself, which I think is true with the cases we're going to be talking about today. So let's jump right in. First to our announcement. Sterns became the prime suspect in the investigation after the discovery of a reported 1,500 videos and photos on his phone showing the man abusing Madeline for years. Now his defense claims that the phone was taken unlawfully, violating Sterns' constitutional rights. While Sterns consented to a law enforcement search of the phone, he maintains that he believed the scope of the search would be limited to his Google Maps data. However, detectives claim that a warrantless seizure of the phone was permissible due to the exigent circumstances, because Soto was still missing at the time of the search. Though a judge did not issue an immediate ruling on the matter, one is expected in June, with Sterns facing 2 criminal trials, one for sex crimes and another for Soto's murder. with prosecutors seeking the death penalty if the man is convicted. Gisela, this is one of the more troubling cases that is currently going on right now. It really bothers me every time I think about what this poor girl met.
Yeah, justice for Maddie, guys. I think a lot of people in the community of Madeline Soto, it's interesting because I feel like there's a split, a huge split in the Madeline Soto community, and I don't understand why. I understand some people are really highly invested in getting justice for Maddie, but I feel like it's become a side, like with the Sebastian case, how there's a green team and there shouldn't be. It should be the team Madeline Soto justice for Maddie. So let's try to stick with that. All right. Monster 408. I like that, Jason. Mama's boy Jason. All right. Got favorite color on tonight? Look great. Thanks, Desiree. I appreciate you. The dogs are in here playing. All right, let's go.
Maddie had been through for years at the hands of this monster. And I know we're still talking about allegations at this point, but could you help us walk through how did police arrive at the point where they were even talking to Sterns about his phone?
So he was pretending to help police, to show where he dropped Madeline Soto off at school, which he never actually did. They already had surveillance footage of him leaving the house, which is his ex-girlfriend's house. He and Jen Soto had broken up. So he was just there helping out, taking her to school. Apparently that was the plan, but he lied about that and they knew, but they just played along with him. They just said, so show us where you dropped her off. And so that's how they, I guess, roped him into conversations and eventually said, hey, do you mind if we just check your phone? And can we just, is it okay? They asked all these questions and he consented all along the way. Yes, sure, you could check this and all.
I'm going to look at some of those words too after this, where there was a video of that's great that that will show the words on there, and maybe it will make you guys feel a lot better about the case while we're waiting. I know people get anxious, and I want the trial to start as well. I really want it to start. I really want things to start coming together so that we're doing something more than just talking about the case. The only thing that's left to do is pass a Madeline Soto bill, which I don't know what that entails yet. But I think the community in Florida is doing a really good job of supporting that cause. Monster, thank you so much for the $9.99 super sticker. I do appreciate that. And Foxy, thank you for the 420 membership in honor of your brother, Christopher, that was gone too soon at 19. All right. Thank you. Good to see you all. Tiff, never a truer word. It's not that. It's not that one. Maybe it's something you haven't seen yet.
I'll show you that. And he was cooperating. He was doing media interviews. So when they discovered from his Google Cloud these 1,700 pictures, I really don't think that's what they were looking for. They were looking at his maps because they wanted to know, this guy's acting shady. Where's he been? We need to figure out, because he factory reset his phone twice. He told them that. So they're like, buddy, let's just look at your phone quickly. And that's really, I'm just giving some bullet points, but that's
no, I appreciate that, because it's important to understand the kind of legal issues that are at play here with this upcoming hearing. So did police believe at the time that they're speaking with him that she may still be alive, or do you think they were actually investigating her death at that point?
I think at that point, they were already investigating her death. They already thought she was deceased, and hence they were like, yeah, this guy, we need to ask him a lot of questions.
Just nightmarish circumstances. So now, but after doing that, now he's got this incredible gall to be happily speaking with police because he feels, and where does this information come from? Out of his own mouth, this idea that he's factory reset his phone. By the way, for people listening, so we all know what we're talking about. We're not talking about, sometimes you might reset your phone, turn it off, turn it back on. You're having problems with your apps. A factory reset is where you bring it back to essentially what it was like out of the box. You believe you've erased everything, correct?
Yes, and he did it twice on February 26th at around noon.
And I gotta say, I think that's going to be a factor that the judge is going to take into consideration, you guys, because under those circumstances, when a police officer knows that a suspect is actively getting rid of evidence, trying to delete it, what have you, break the phone, hide it. Under those circumstances, there's a greater cause for them to confiscate that phone and download it before the information is compromised. And people are going to say that. The judge is going to say that. The judge has got to be thinking that. That's got to be a circumstance, you guys. Thank you, Peanut Butter. You as well with your crazy monster picture. I love it. But yeah, just think about that. Think about that circumstance being in place in the judge's mind. Potato knew how to reset. I'm sure she was part of that. Now, we've heard that Jen Soto used to sell other pictures online, possibly. She knew how to work her way around. She wanted to be an IT, which she called herself a hacker. All right. The reset shows guilt, but there's legal terms for the guilt and trying to get rid of the evidence, which would lead law enforcement to push even harder to get that phone and do what they need to do with it. All right. So it's gotta be a factor in this. Had that not happened and the officer did that, it may be a different scenario now.
And at around midnight, this guy factory reset his phone twice, and he told police about it because they said something about the maps and they wanted to see where he'd been that day and just to figure out where he's talking about driving around with Maddie. And so that's what they were interested in. Like, let's see if this even matches, because it doesn't match the surveillance footage we have of him. So they were interested in that. And he then brought up, oh, you can look at my phone, but I factory reset it. So he was overconfident in giving the phone up because he'd factory reset it. He thought, there you go, they'll never find out.
And see, that's what I was thinking too. I think that I don't know if he was so overconfident, but I do think Jen was very confident that the information was gone. They sat there in that chair and chit-chatted, reset it. She knew that happened. And she said, don't worry, you don't want to look more guilty. We don't want them finding Maddie right away. So we need to just give him the phone. Let him have it. Your dad will give you another one. Thank you, Nat, for the Guilty of Crime membership and supporting the channel. Everybody that comes here and hits the like button and you guys are just really good people in chat. If you don't agree, we can agree to disagree, but thank you. Thank you for that. We need more people supporting justice for Maddie and justice for all the true crime cases that we follow. All right. Yeah. Put the phone in a bowl of rice, the old school way. But guess what? iPhones are waterproof now. So you can drop your phone in the water and it's just fine.
On anything.
Is this interview, this interaction with him and police, is that recorded? Like, have you seen videotape of this?
Yes. So through FOIA request, Freedom of Information Act requests, I have requested everything I can possibly get. Police audio files, police video files. And in analyzing those, yes.
And I'm going to be surprised if we get more information, you guys, because they did get right back to us, us getting a FOIA, and we asked for more body cam, more anything, more videos, more statements, more anything. And they asked us to pay $97 to get whatever it is that they want to send us. Now, there's 333 people here in chat. So please say a prayer for Maddie that she gets complete and utter justice and that we can get more information. All right. We can get more information. Thank you guys all that are here for supporting. Thank you. Blah, blah, blah. Lisa Lynn, Jen's a gypsy, Sea Life. Good to see you. Good to see you. So let's hope we get more content through a FOIA. Next week would be great.
Yes, it's audio recorded. There's some body cam. Obviously, we've seen these police video interviews as well. And yes, you can absolutely hear how it went down. And I understand that there's an argument, of the police. Did they overstep their boundaries, which is obviously why the judge has to decide on this.
Right.
But for me, I'm like, this dude consented so many times, which kind of outweighs everything else. They said, he says, no, I only said check my maps. No, you didn't. They said, can we download your entire phone? And he said, yes, that's fine.
Yeah. So just to get into the kind of nuts and bolts of the legal issues attendant here, whenever you don't have a warrant, there's two types of searches. You either have a warrant, usually then you have no problem with the police as long as they're conducting themselves according to that warrant. If you want to challenge that, you've got to challenge the warrant. Here, because they didn't have a warrant, there's all these attendant Fourth Amendment issues, and one of them is consent. And there is the idea about limited consent. You can tell the police, if police say, hey, can we come inside your phone to, I don't know, just check to, what would they be checking for? Make sure your kitchen isn't leaking.
Right. I love that he's giving this perspective. I like it a lot. All right. Thank you, Maggie. I appreciate you. All right. I did, Tanya, I sent you a message. I want to get those FOIAs. Hopefully we get those soon. Also, I do have more information on Idolo Brett Bonini, the music teacher that supposedly gave Maddie lessons, which I don't think so, more than once or twice. I think Jen was just swiping the money, but there's more information that I'd like to put out on him particularly. Michelle, have you seen the video where Stephan puts Maddie in the trunk? Just wondering if Stephan tried to conceal her when he took her out of the front seat. I have not ever seen a video where Stephan puts Maddie in the trunk. I don't think that they've released that video at all. I can't imagine that they would release that video. If you have something, please do send it over. guiltyofcrimebyj@gmail.com. All right. And yeah, I don't think that's going to be ever released. Probably not. All right. I doubt it. If it is, I'd be surprised and I'd be hesitant to even show that video.
The downstairs apartment's got a leaky roof. Can we check your kitchen? That doesn't mean that they can then walk straight into your bedroom and start rifling through your shoe boxes. So there is this idea of you can give limited consent, but here, at least what you're telling us from this interview, it sounds like they were very careful in asking for that consent and recording it. So it's not like their word against his as it's happening in real time. I imagine it sounds like it was a fairly good search, right? After what you heard?
Yeah, from what I heard, and I know there's a lot of divided opinions on this. Some people are really worried that this evidence will get thrown out and we'll have to see what the judge decides. But for me, even though if people think that the law enforcement officer was being like sneaky, it was a female and she was like, oh, can I check your phone? Can I just, what's your passcode? And mind if I download your whole phone? Like it may have been said in a tone that he might not have realized is what people might speculate. But in my opinion, he was fine with it because he factory reset his phone. So he said, sure, not realizing his Google Cloud account, his Google account would automatically repopulate everything once that phone was back on.
That was my next question, is how did that happen? But to get back to your point, nothing against the law.
Hey, Grish is in the house. And Grish, let me know. We haven't done call-ins yet, but I can certainly do call-ins after this portion if you're around. Everybody loves Grish, right? Everybody does. What's up, Grish? We're all waiting for new content, my friend. We all love you. And Foxy Amazon, I think she loves you too much. Just kidding. You know I love you. Also, while I'm pausing this so I don't forget, Synth, you guys know Synth, my crazy mod Synth. Synth is going to be giving away when we're giving away prizes and we can't give them away to people in the UK. Well, she's going to. She has gifts for people in the UK now. All right. So yeah, my mom is in love with Grish too. Man, Grish, you got a fan base.
Oh, with police being friendly. Nothing against the law with them being casual with you. Nothing against the law about them trying to make it sound like it's no big deal. In fact, that's mainly the part of police tactics. I tell this to clients and potential clients all the time. The police are not going to shine a bright light on you and start demanding that you hand over your phone. They're going to come at you like you're the best of pals and say, hey, would you mind? No big deal. We just want to clear up this one little issue. Can we take a look? All along the line, you're giving them consent. So tell us how that happened, because that's the mystery. If he did a factory reset his phone, what went wrong?
So he factory reset the phone. He gave it to them. He consented that they can search through everything. They were not looking for child essay material. They were looking for maybe text messages or where's this guy been? Let's look at his maps and things like that. And when they put on the airplane mode, which it saves everything that's then on the phone had repopulated things from the Google Cloud account. And they were, I can only imagine being a fly on the wall. That's not what they were expecting. 1,700 pictures coming through of horrific abuse of this little girl dating back to when she was about 8. So then they got a search warrant. After that, they actually got a search warrant to look into his Google account to make sure that it matches what actually automatically populated on this phone. And he just didn't anticipate that. Yeah. So now he's saying, no, this was illegal and this was it. But he never withdrew consent either. Because even if you give consent, you can withdraw. You can say, you know what? No, I'm not comfortable with this. Give me my phone back. He didn't. He never did that. And I think he never expected that technology would work that way. He thought he was smart.
Yeah. And from what you're describing too, I don't see any problems with what the police did, because, you know, part of the law too says that the police, if they're rightfully allowed to be somewhere, they don't have to ignore things that might not be a part of that original consent or probable cause that they had. So to go back to my probably very awkward example, if you give them permission to go inside to take a look at your leaky sink, and along the way they discover a dead body lying on the floor, they don't have to ignore that because they're only there to take a look at the sink.
Yeah, and he breaks it down in complete layman's terms, because that's what I was going to say. I mean, I was going to use a different example, but you know what I'm saying. If they go into your house, you say, yeah, can I come in your house? There may have been, you know, a burglar around here that went in your backyard and we think he went in the house, but they go in your house and they find a body in the bathtub that you're in the middle of dismembering. They're not going to just walk away and say, well, we were looking for that burglar and he wasn't there, but we don't have a search warrant, so we're going to ignore that half dismembered body in your bathtub. That just doesn't happen. So that's kind of the case here. They were not expecting, and everybody says that in law enforcement about this case, they were not expecting, when I say they, Stephan and Jen were not expecting that to come out and them to find that. They were looking for Madeline to find out where she was dropped off, where she could be. She was missing at the time. Okay. So, I mean, it's pretty common sense.
They're allowed to, as in this instance, if they're looking through his phone and he's giving them permission all along the way and they discover all of this material that may not have been what they expected, they don't have to ignore it. And they can go out then and get warrants to go back and get it under a warrant search.
Which they did go back out and they got warrants of every single thing. And that's why I want more information so we can go over those things. But if they have a warrant to search a person, are they allowed to look in drawers? It depends what they're looking for. I don't know about for a person necessarily, but if they find that there might be imminent danger in that top drawer, because maybe something's sticking out of the top drawer that looks like it can be a GUN, then that's a possibility. And I doubt that that's going to get ruled out. But you never know. You never know how law is going to work, right? All right, let's keep going so we can do some call-ins. Remember, who are you and where are you calling from? I might even say, what do you want to talk about, just to make sure we can get through.
Interesting stuff. Let's explore, though, the hypothetical. If the judge does make a, what would be a catastrophic decision here.
Unless somebody is in imminent danger or the police. So, yeah, the search warrant has to be specific. But if they have a specific search warrant to go into your closet, but they see something disturbed in your bathroom, then that's enough cause for them. It's a probable cause for them to go in. Yes. You guys, fire Friday, guys. Hit the like button. Let's go.
And decides that everything that in that phone is out. How devastating to their case do you think that will be? Because my understanding is this is kind of how the whole investigation into Sterns started. And I'm wondering, does the case fall apart if the phone isn't involved in the case?
I think for the first trial, then the case falls apart. Then it's out. But there's a second trial that's for September. I won't say a specific date because it changes all the time. Somewhere around September of 2025. Yeah. That is a homicide trial, and he's facing the death penalty there. So even if this trial falls right away, I don't think that this guy who's innocent until proven guilty will ever get out, because
Gotcha.
they have so much other evidence against him. They don't need the CSAM evidence from his phone for that murder charge. I mean, the way everything, just they have so much against him that they don't even need this for that outcome later.
Yeah.
She's
Wow.
actually right.
Yeah, I mean, as you're talking, it just continues to give me nightmares. Thank you for walking us through all of that. It's a very dense.
It is a pretty rough case. Definitely a rough case. I was talking about it with somebody yesterday or the day before about the actual details of what happened to Maddie. And I try not to go there very often in my own mind, because it is a nightmare case to think about. It gives me nightmares. What's up, Sadie's mama? How you doing, my friend? But we do have a lot more cases coming for you next week that are going to be just as rough. From Australia, what's up?
It's a complex case, and I appreciate you keeping us updated, and we will continue to follow it because, like we said, he's going to have separate trials for the abuse allegations and then the murder allegations, and we'll continue to keep everyone updated. Let's move on to Nelson County, Kentucky, where
All right, as much as I'd like to cover that, I would love to cover that. That's the biggest part of the update. I do want to, I don't think I've ever played him. He's called Reporting Live from My Sofa, and I really enjoy his content, but he's going to break some things down. Now, we're not going to watch the whole thing. At about an hour in, another 20 minutes, we're going to have call-ins because I don't want to miss Grish calling in and see what he has to say about it. All right. So I want to listen to him for a little bit. It's not never a truer word, but I want you to be able to see the words. It's about the evidence wanting to be thrown out. I want you guys to rest easy about this case. All right. It's not an easy case, but we can get through it together.
Okay, Sofa Squad. So you already know, if you've been following me on the podcast channel, we went over Stephan Sterns returning to the courtroom recently for hearing to suppress all of the horrible evidence on his phone. Now, at the time of this recording, Judge Karsten is expected to make his rulings on what the evidence, what's going to happen and whatnot sometime in June. So it hasn't happened as of yet. Now, also, there really hasn't even been any word on how the postponement is going to impact September's trial. Remember, there's two different trials going on, right? There's the first one for all the stuff on his phone, and then the one in September for what he allegedly did to Madeline.
Yeah, and those dates keep changing. Like, it's like a target that keeps moving. So, yeah, thank you for saying that, Henrietta. The 17,000 photos or the 135,000, whatever it was, the hundreds of thousands of photos, they were not all Maddie, which leads me to believe they may find other abuse, but not just the abuse of other children, but people that were involved in that. And I will not rule out at this time whatsoever that that whole Santa thing in Florida that was on the way to Maddie's school and right in the proximity of Maddie and Jen. And now knowing what I know, thinking that Jen had to do with the pictures and the exchange and the money, there are going to be other children that arise and other people that arise. Thank you, Ryan. I'm glad you think Paul is great. Appreciate you. I really wanted to show. I've always wanted to put something of him on, and he covered this. So I'm like, okay, let's play a little bit and watch how he breaks it down.
Soto. Okay. So all that being said, we're going to be talking about this case. Mega trigger warning. If you already know, then you already know what this is about. It is not a cute one. It's not a pretty one. It's very horrible. And we'll specifically be talking about those motions that we read through on the podcast channel.
Yes, so we're going to talk about that, guys. So get your pen and paper down, or just know what you're going to say when you call in what you want to talk about. There are definitely other children on there, Desiree. It was not all Maddie. They identified other children, but they didn't identify who the other children were. All right. Which is why we're talking about this in preparation for the trial.
I just want to come over here and kind of like talk about some of the main key points of them on this channel. So let's go ahead and get into it. Or it sounds weird. It's like, let me try on my necklace. Now, I was holding it like this, but if you follow me, you already know there's no way I could sit in this position right here. I will be fumbling with it. I'll be doing stuff.
All right, what's your necklace, bro?
Madeline Soto. She was 13 years old. This was the daughter of his girlfriend, Jennifer Soto. Now, when she went missing, the investigation starts, the whole thing. And while they were doing this, the prosecution would end up filing an additional 60 charges related to the S battery, if you know what that means, and there you go, of a child in possession of S material, which included, and I'm going to put this up on the screen here, and we'll just go through it real quick. So we have 8 counts of S battery on a child under 12, 5 counts of S battery with a child 12 to 18 familial custody authority, 7 counts of lewd and lascivious molestation, 40 counts of unlawful possession of materials depicting S performance by a child, 10 or more images. Now, just quick, like, Sofa sidebar on that, and I'll just say this in case I forget about it or whatever, but if he doesn't get any of this suppressed, I can't imagine him taking this to trial. Now, and again, I'll say this, let me go ahead and get in here. Ain't no doctor, ain't no lawyer, ain't no judge, ain't no cop, ain't none of that fancy credential stuff, okay? The only credentials I got is my sass.
And my couch.
Well, I used to have a sofa, but his couch too, so we might not have any credentials at this point, okay? But what I'm getting at is, I mean, I have no basis to make that claim. That's just my opinion based on what I've been watching and whatnot. And just honestly, I would like to say common sense. The horrifying things on his phone that he was doing to poor Madeline, to me, it's you can't talk your way out of that, right? Which is,
and it's hard to even talk about. It's one of the hardest cases that I think is why people go so crazy about it, is because it is a hard case. It's hard to compartmentalize that case and covering it and then switching to other cases, etc. It's difficult, guys. It's difficult. All right, let's go a little bit forward. I want to take a look at this state's response to motion 1, and you guys can see it on here.
The defendant's motion to suppress evidence obtained from unlawful searches of a cell phone. Now, the state opens up with this dialogue between Stephan Sterns and Detective Maria Tagler. She's with the Orange County Sheriff's Office. I'm going to put this up on the screen here, and let's look at it. You'll see the little highlighted parts that we have. Okay, so you'll see the conversation here on the screen, and the detective says, "What kind of phone is this?" And then Stephan says, "An S23 Ultra, I think." And then the detective says, "I don't know how to work this thing." And then Stephan says, "I'm sorry, I..."
Okay, I'm going to leave this up on the screen for a minute so you know what they're saying. Happy Friday, Space Case. Good to see you, my friend. Also, since we are on the topic of the Madeline Soto case, yesterday, if you were watching the Scott Peterson case with us, thank you for being here. Right after I finished streaming, I reached out to somebody to find out about Jen Soto and the funerals that happened and that were attended. Right, there was a private funeral with Yolanda, and Jen was there. So I don't know how many of you guys know who Teresina even is, but she was correct in saying Jen Soto was at the original first funeral for Maddie. The one funeral private, one funeral that was more open to the public and Tyler. All right. And then there was the vigil, and then there was the 1 year. Okay. Or Maddie's birthday. So Jen was at the first one, but the lady that called me and told me about the news article and didn't want to be identified in the Madeline Soto case didn't see her there because she probably got there at the end. Okay. So Jen Soto was there at the first private one. She didn't show up to anything else. Nancy Jean, what's up? She was not at the roadside memorial. She was not at the bigger funeral that was more open and not private. She was afraid that somebody would hurt her. She saw rumors going around, and so the person I called said she was in fact there at the very first one, right? So that's why I want to clear that up when we're talking about the Madeline Soto case. So thank you. We always want to clear those things up, but now let's look at the screen. What kind of phone is it? He doesn't know. And then, I'm sorry, I barely know how to work it myself. You can see what happens. Tagler's trying to get that phone, right? If it's okay, I go into your settings real quick. Now, she asked him, can I go into your settings? And if you're logged into Google, had he not been, or had he not given that login, she wouldn't have been able to get in. So again, the judge is going to decide, but
barely know how to work it myself. And then the detective says, I'm an iPhone person. And then Stephan goes, oh. And then the detective says, Is it okay if I go in your settings real quick? I just want to see if you're logged onto your Google. And then Stephan says, I am not logged onto my Google with that actually. And the detective says, is it okay if I check? And then the Stephan, the defendant says, yeah, let's go over a
I'm going to answer the best way I can with this question, Lisa. Stephan didn't show up for I've never heard anybody say that Stephan was at any funeral. If anybody local to Florida knows if you guys were at that funeral, you can ask, but I do not think that Stephan was at any funeral. I think Stephan was locked up when any funeral happened. So I'm going to use my best, most intelligent guess that Stephan Sterns was not at any of the funerals or anything. Yeah, he was locked up by then. All right. So wait, the first person you know who you didn't know, wanted to be named was the first funeral. Okay, listen, I'm going to take that whole thing down, whatever you're asking. There were 2 funerals, period. One was a private one was a more public one. I originally heard that Jen Soto didn't make it to any funerals. And then I heard that Teresina said she made it to the first one, and so did the second person I called. They backed that up, all right? There was another person. There's lots of Florida people that call me and tell me many things. The person that called me told me that it's not true. All right. Not true. She was at the first one and nothing else.
A few key points of this. Okay, so remember how Stephan was like, oh, I accidentally factory reset the phone and blah, 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 blah. Okay, so you can already kind of see where that's headed in this direction, right? Now, I have a Google Pixel, so I don't know how to like factory reset the phone on there. If you have the phone that he has, that S23 Ultra, let me know. Like if you know how to do it. But to me, factory reset is like a hard thing to do. Even on the realm of, and I hate using the term, but of butt dialing, right? Think about the Karen Reed case for all the butt dials. You know how like you can like throw your phone in your purse or your pocket, even though it is in like a very environment. Now I'm going to keep going here and quoting some parts from this. The state further asserts that the scope of consent to search is generally what a typical reasonable person would understand the exchange of words under the circumstances to mean. Now, again, in this, to me, my personal opinion, my sofa, sidebar, unprofessional and credentialed opinion, the way I view it with all these conversations, we're going to go over some more here in a minute, and just look at what we're about to look at through this lens. To me, I see this consent. Now, again, is it consent in the context of, but I mean, they even offer him the thing or whatever. So I guess part of it is like, okay, did they sit here and say, here is a search warrant, we are going to do blank? But as you'll see when we go through this, I mean, this was offered, right? But oftentimes as we look at these cases, we see where it's almost like a casual, a nonchalant conversation going on. Okay, if you know where I got that from, you know what you know. But it's going on between like cops and defendant or whoever, right? Now the tricky thing is that with the defendants, they have something to hide. Okay, obviously. So with him, there's going to be this hindsight. He already knows at this point in this conversation that they're having. He knows what he did. Okay, so obviously that's going on. Okay, this isn't like they're dealing with a completely innocent person who would not care if they look to their phone. No. Now, there might be some embarrassing things, like say maybe of like whatever that you might not want people to see, right? But this is not, I mean, this is horrifying what he had on his phone. So obviously he was trying to hide it. But anyways, let's keep going. So let's look at another couple of those little screenshots here. Detective Tagler says, do you mind if I just take a picture?
All right. Right after this, when we look at this in writing, I'd love for hopefully Grish to call in and give his take on what he thinks about this portion of it. Do you think that we're being unrealistic and it probably is going to get thrown out because you've studied something that we don't know about, or just in your experience, right? You've been locked up before, you know, the legal system, probably other than that, right? I know it enough through my family. I know it enough through that to have having to deal with a lawyer and all that kind of stuff, and watching true crime. All right. So a few more minutes and we'll have call-ins. We want Grish to call in.
Of your history. And defendant Stephan says, yeah, that's fine. Okay. Then there's this. Detective Tagler says, can you unlock this one more time, please? And Stephan says, sure. So there's that. Now, on this, again, like so many of these cases that we watch with narcissists, whatever you want to call them, right? But the Sarah Boones, the Loris, they keep like, Sarah,
Boone.
okay,
Right,
can I have the pin to your phone? Stephan, 42586. Detective, 42586.
Right. After this part, I'll have you call in, Grish, because I want to know what you think about that. And no, I don't even think I need to ask that question. I absolutely don't think Deb or Chris attended any of the anythings, right? There was already a bunch of heat out there in the wild about Stephan. I really don't think that they went to the funeral. Nobody did to that first one except the immediate family. What's up, Dee Dee? How you doing, my friend? Good to see you. Tell me what you think about this, Grish. We're going to listen to this part where Detective Tagler is just having a conversation and gets the password and the phone. And I want to know what you think about this. All right. Paul and his channel. Love Paul. Yes, me too. I don't watch it enough. I need to watch it more.
Okay, perfect. Thank you very much. Now, timeout sofa sidebar. When this popped off, and remember like the clip, if you watched it, he sounds very unsure about this, very unsure. And remember, like parts of, and we'll get to it or whatever. But he's like, so and so was gonna like my dad or whoever he's trying to get a hold of or whatever. It was the opposite reaction that you have if you're, and I know this isn't his child, but it's his girlfriend's child. So if this was a completely innocent situation on his part, and it's like you weren't doing the things he was doing to Madeline, like we're just gonna, he is a caretaker, he is authority over Madeline, right? So if said child is missing and you're with the cops and you're in the car and they're like, hey, can we look at your phone? And let's just pretend that you have like some maybe risky selfies of yourself, right? Something that would be embarrassing.
Yeah, this guy's channel is called Reporting Live from My Sofa. Literally, he has 142,000 subscribers, and he probably has another channel too. So I guess his sofa is his bed. All right, let's finish this last part, and then we'll do the call-ins.
Of that nature. And then we're not even getting into pretend like he was completely innocent. Like he just,
God.
Whatever. That would be something where it's like, yeah.
All right, guys, big shout out to Lisa Fazio for the $49.99 super sticker. Lisa, I haven't seen you in quite some time. I'm glad you're here tonight. All right, thank you, guys. Thank you, Lisa. Good to see you, my friend. I hope you're doing well and having a good weekend thus far. It just started.
Okay, well, here's the thing. Look, you can totally look through my phone, whatever you got to do, but just know, like, there's some embarrassing stuff of me on there. Okay, you know what? We've seen it all before. Right. Totally cool. Okay, cool. Yep, there's my phone. Do what you need to do with it. There's no other answer, right? But Stephan sounds so scared. You could tell in that moment that he was like, oh, I'm done, right? Now, mind you, he probably...
All right. There's a lot of suppositions. We're all there. I'm going to do this. I'd love for you to call in, Grish. 408-538-1516. Let's hear your thoughts on this. All right. Let's hear your thoughts on what we're talking about today. It is open. I do recognize your voice and probably the area code that you're calling in from. So do call in. I've refreshed it, guys. 408-538-1516. Let me find a phone. Let me find a phone. Thank you again, Lisa. Yeah, prayers to you for healing. When you're not here for some time, I know people go through their own personal journeys, but they're really interested in the case. So yeah, there you go. Grish says he needs to find a fawn or a phone. So we definitely want Grish to call in, and he said, give him a second. 408-538-1516. I'm actually surprised more people aren't calling in, but it's good. It's good because we don't want him to try to call and then he can't, right? So I refreshed that, and thank you, Foxy, for putting that up. Synth, are you here? Or you want to maybe write something in chat about your international prizes that you're going to be giving out? Allie Crawley, hi everyone, happy Friday. Yeah, happy Friday to everyone. Grish is you must be in Baltimore. 410 is Baltimore, is the Baltimore area. So yeah, let me know, guys. Come on, if we we're waiting on Grish. If there's another caller that comes in before, well, then that's going to happen. Let's see what we've got here. The defendant claims. Okay, so I'll read this real quick while we're waiting. This is from the Detective Tagler portion. It says the defendant claims that Detective Tagler overstepped the consent given by the defendant. Their motion argument depends on his misleading and incomplete incomplete recitation of the limited consent he gave Tagler. Okay, so limited consent. It should have been limited, like you guys said. However, the defendant fails to discuss the fact that he unlocked his cell phone and handed it to Tagler on 2 different occasions. The defendant also fails to acknowledge he allowed and consented. All right, let's see who this is.
Call from
Shelly Hines.
I'm sorry.
To accept, press 1. To send a voicemail, press 2.
All right, we're gonna
Call from
Rachel.
All right.
to
Now
accept.
you guys called in. Rachel got through before Grish did. How you doing, my friend?
Hi guys, I'm doing good. I was just thinking about when you did that video with Scott Peterson yesterday. I was thinking when I saw that yesterday, how long do you know how long it would take for them to get the DNA back as far as on that hair that was on a pair of pliers, since he seems to think that he didn't kill his pregnant wife?
You know what? When we were listening to that yesterday, I heard them talking about that evidence might have already come back, but it's sealed, and we're not going to know until they go back to court. All right. So I did, if you're interested in that documentation and you want to find out more, I suggest you go onto my Patreon, and I put Scott Peterson documents. You've got hundreds of pages of documents from the LA Innocence Project and the People versus Scott Peterson. Just so you know, if you want to dig into that, but we don't know if it's already back.
Okay, yeah, that's what I was wondering yesterday when you was doing that on Scott Peterson. I was like, yeah.
I would have definitely let you guys know, but it's sealed. So when it does come back, I will definitely keep you guys updated. I appreciate that.
Okay, I appreciate that, Joy. That's all I was wanting to say. You have a good night.
All right, you too, Rachel. Take care.
Bye.
All right,
bye. Goodbye.
Call from
Shelly Hines.
To accept, press 1.
All right, Shelly, where are you calling from? And Grish, you didn't get through again, my man.
I'm calling from Pennsylvania.
All right, what do you got? Hello.
Hello, hi. I just wanted to call to say hello, and I think it's great with everything that you're doing to be a voice for all these kids that are coming up missing, found murdered. We need a lot of people like Jay out there.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. We need all of you guys too to be part of it, right? Grish did try.
That's right.
We definitely need the crime crew, and I hope that you come and watch the cases we present other than Maddie, right? Is there a case that you're following right now?
I'm watching the Lily and Jack case right now. Also, I've been watching Summer Wells ever since it started.
Okay.
And the other little boy, Rogers, Sebastian Rogers. I've been watching it since day one too.
Okay.
So
right.
I just love everything you're doing for these kids. So keep up the good work. And I'm throwing your name out there to everybody that I know that watches the true crime. So
I appreciate you, and I've got Grish on the phone if you don't mind. Thank you.
Yes, absolutely.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Call from
Grish.
Okay. All right. Now I knew it was you. Are you in Baltimore area, Grish?
I'm everywhere, yo.
Okay. Yeah, me too. Just kidding. All right. What do you got? What do you got?
We're talking about phone searches?
Yes, we're talking about the blocked evidence that they want blocked. What do you think about under those circumstances? What do you think?
I think it would be a non-issue, because if you, all right, Stephan wasn't being detained at that time. He wasn't under arrest.
Right.
So he was in a mode of cooperation with law enforcement.
Right.
So they weren't particularly looking at him, or he wasn't considered a suspect. It was too early on. And so when they asked to look at his phone, it's just for investigating for what they think is a missing child. So
right.
When Tagler asked to look at his phone and look at his history, he has to assume that whatever she's looking for has to do with that. It doesn't have to do with the Nickelodeon on his phone.
Right.
So if now another way to put it is, if, like, say he was detained, he was arrested.
Right.
I'll give you a real world example.
Yes.
Someone I knew got arrested, and they asked to go through his phone. Not like, say, would you like to tell on people directly, but we go through your phone.
Right.
That's what they do now. So he gave them the code to his phone, and they voluntarily, and from that they then did a Cellbrite analytics on his phone and found all kinds of criminal activity.
Yeah, CSAM.
And then from that they had I'm talking about someone I know. And then they found like other criminal activity.
Oh, okay.
Then they got a warrant for that. Okay. They got a warrant based on what they got, what they got from him that he voluntarily gave to them. That is the same thing as what Stephan did. It's just a completely different circumstance.
Right.
But
the same situation.
It's the same situation. It's even worse for Stephan because he wasn't being detained.
Right. So what you're saying is that it's pretty typical. If someone's, let's say they're going through your friend's phone and they're looking for something completely different, but then they realize, man, this guy is like El Chapo. Let's get a freaking warrant to check what El Chapo #2 is doing. And then they found that under the warrant. They're going to keep that evidence. They're not going to, because they did that after they realized there was a shit ton of CSAM. Then they crossed their T's and dotted their I's and got warrants. They weren't expecting the CSAM like that.
Right. They weren't. Exactly. They weren't even talking about that. They were talking about the history of his phone, which is a very broad term. It could be the history of your web searches, with your Google Maps or whatever else you're doing. History is a very broad term. So you, as a person who owns the phone, you should expect them to be looking at whatever historical data that they expect to see on your phone. And since they didn't see any historical data, then they look at other historical data as far as metadata of the photos you're taking.
Right.
In my opinion, they only went to his photos because he erased everything else. They're looking for historical data.
See, that's what I was thinking, and it prompted it even more when they realized that he had deleted his phone twice. And what does he have to hide? They were actually looking for the maps to see if maybe he dropped Maddie somewhere off and they could find her. They weren't even looking for a body yet.
Right. I think that they have the license plate reader data. I think by that time when they were standing on the street there, I forgot what time it was, but it was late. And so he was telling them where he was. I think that's when they first got suspicious, because you can tell like Tagler's voice kind of gets a little bit more direct, you know?
Right.
And as the case goes on, she's on to him. So like it's a little obvious, and Stephan just tries to keep that same demeanor.
Yeah.
And that makes it even worse, because if the cops is suspecting you anything or something like this and you didn't do anything wrong, you would be offended by that.
Right.
So,
right. Interesting. Yeah.
But
I
think that
go ahead.
I think that the defense is really just doing this to try to just drag it on so they can try to get the neurologist in there for the other stuff. Like they're doing whatever they can to try to slow this thing down without directly saying it. It's just
I agree. And I was, I put that out there all the time. I watch true crime constantly, but I have my nephew that went to prison for 5 years for robbery, and my brother, same thing, 20 years ago. And, I have that experience with what the police do and their tactics and everything they do. The lawyers, it's a tactic to stall for a particular reason when you have this big case that you need to get under control. And so I do think it's a huge tactic that may not necessarily be what we think it's for, right?
Right. Their goal right now is just to slow this thing down.
Yeah, you know that more than anyone, right? Like if you've ever, I don't know what situations you've had, but I've always noticed that the defendants always want to slow it down. They could spend time served in this jail place that they're being held, and then less witnesses come up. People forget about it. It dies down, whatever, right?
Yeah. But I mean, like there's like things like if to slow a case down,
right?
You can I'll tell you about an experience. All right.
Yes,
so
please.
I was on one of my cases. I was basically guilty. Okay.
Right.
Of most of the stuff that they had on me.
Right.
Now, one of the things that I wasn't directly guilty of, but I was charged with, I didn't want. I'm not gonna go too deep into it.
No problem.
Okay, so
let
me tell you. So, my lawyer did some clever stuff, and basically what he did was he had my case aligned with a Stephan Sterns type character. So we were on the same docket, and then where I'm from, they do the Stephan Sterns type people first, and I was facing more time than the Stephan Sterns type character. And so when he went up, they had like the reaction when they read up his charges was so bad. What I got caught with seemed like I'm the Pope. I'm the Pope. They're like, oh, this boy is an angel.
He's an angel. Look at him next to the other
angel. You're an angel. I'm like, oh. And so it was like my sentence was for what I got caught with was pretty light.
Right.
So you don't know whether they're trying to slow down a case.
No,
really,
no. And they don't even say that. Yeah.
They're not gonna say that, but my lawyers were trying to stall the case just to postpone it for the same date as the Sterns character.
Right.
And it worked.
It did, yeah. I mean, they have every tactic. I mean, that's their job, right? I gotta say, Stephan Sterns, his defense, they're public defenders, but they're doing a decent job. They're doing a decent job.
Because the thing is like a public defender, they have a very they do the same type of cases over and over and over again. So most of the time they're going to ask you to like cop out to something. They're not going to really try to fight it.
Right.
It adds more to the caseload as time goes on. But when a public defender gets a client that gets them a lot of publicity, they'll turn up. They'll turn up even for Stephan Sterns, not the black woman, the sister with the dreads. She can't stand that dude. But like the other dude, like he knows like with a case like this, other type of criminals will see him and be like, yo, he fought for him. Man, when I get caught with this 28, man, I'm not gonna I might beat that case with him because he's fighting for them, he'll fight for me.
Right.
Even like the $800 lawyers, they'll turn into $2,000 lawyers off a good case.
Oh yeah,
everybody's in there watching.
And I think there's a misconception in the justice system in general. People have a lot of misconceptions with the justice system because we feel like it's going to work for us if we're good or if we're bad. And that's not really how it works. I mean, in your opinion, right? I mean, you see what they do. Their tactics are just as underhanded as any criminal could be doing who knows what.
But like prosecutors do underhanded stuff too.
You're right. Yeah. Let me get both sides of that. You're right.
Like no matter what job you have, you're gonna try to find a way to do it easier, right?
And to do your best. Like, you want to do your best.
Huh?
You want to do your best. You
want to do your best, but you don't. You want to make it a little easier for you, so you might do some things that you're not supposed to, and just hope you don't get caught up.
Right.
And not saying like they're doing it all together wrong, but like sometimes like I think some prosecutors they know you're guilty of something. They've seen you too many, especially if they've seen you too many times and you walk out the courtroom smiling at them. They don't like that. So when you get arrested again, they're gonna the gloves come off. You gotta expect some weird stuff.
Right. Well, yeah, I mean, that's a whole other situation. But when you're in, when you go for something like this, and when we're talking about the Stephan Sterns case, and we still got the first CSIM, and then we got to deal with the whole murder portion. Which
but that's the prosecution's path too. They could have wrapped all of them up. I'm talking Jen, Stephan, everything at once. But the thing is that Stephan doesn't have a criminal history.
Yes.
So when he goes up and he faces the big numbers, it's not going to be as high.
It's interesting because they do look at that heavily, even if it's a case like that. And they really aren't that hard on chomos. I hate to say that, but they really aren't. When you watch the majority of the cases like that, without the murder, there's a good possibility of getting out at some point on those charges. You know what I'm saying?
But like, that's true. But like, different states have different rules for that. Like, I mean,
right. That's
some
true.
of the stuff they'll throw the death penalty at people for stuff, and then another state would be like, 3 years.
That's true. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. I'm like, well, how is that? Why is that? But well, everybody.
Like the case I told you about, I was facing 8 years. This dude was facing like 5. It was like, yo, come on, y'all. I got caught with 2 pounds. You got caught with 2 kids. It's not the same.
No, not even close. And some people don't feel that way, but I think most of us people that are of sound mind would feel that way, right?
Right. It's just the way the laws are written as they write them. Sometimes they just they don't make sense. So
now, question for you. I don't want to keep you too long, but do you think that after reading everything and making the videos that you do, and I think you believe Jen is a big player in this. Do you think they're going to come after her before, after, or never?
After the CSAM case.
Okay.
After the CSAM case. And I got 2 videos coming up. Let me tell you that. Like the first one, both of them I know you like, but the first one, you gonna like this. I'm not gonna get too far, but you're gonna like it, and it's gonna be one of those moments. So I'll just leave it at that. So
I look forward to that.
I got some. I've been doing some research.
Good.
For the past like 2 weeks, and because I caught something caught my eye, and I was like, hold up. And I kept digging, and it just kept getting better and better. And I'm like, I'll tell my girl, like, yo, this I have to break this into 2 videos. This is crazy.
Good, because you have that eye that catches things that we didn't catch, and we also we were guessing a lot of the way through. If you go back into the old videos, so many things we were based on assumptions of the evidence, and then it would come out later after we already made the video. So if we were to go now and remake the videos, it's different. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
I know what you mean. It's like some of the stuff that this stuff that I'm working on now, like these particular 2 videos, it's a lot of stuff that's been available, and it's got like all I gotta say is like Stephan Sterns is appearance wise looks disheveled. He looks unkempt.
Right.
But this man is a very OCD ritualistic type. And when I was doing the research before on the hoodies and stuff, like the black and gray hoodie, I was learning about why they do certain stuff. And then like he said, like the people are very ritualistic, and I didn't see it at first until I looked at his Reddit history, and I was going through it, and I'm like, I have a real good pattern recognition thing. I got it like that. So I'm reading it. I ended up finding some gems in there, and it's some this man is like, who only buys vapes Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays?
Nobody that I know of. I do whatever they have. I know. That's what I'm saying. That is very ritualistic, and they do say that about people that are convicted or accused of those type of crimes. They are like that, though. Oh, did I cut? Did I?
Hold on. Say that again.
Okay. I said that people that commit those type of crimes, they have certain characteristics about them. I didn't catch that with Stephan Sterns. I didn't look that deep into that.
Yeah, but I saw there's a lot of behavior patterns that he exhibits that I can go over so many times over. Like seriously, I took his whole Reddit history and just like made it as like one long page and turned it to the side where it's just horizontal, and that you can see the amount he writes in a pattern per day of the week.
Oh, wow. I can't wait to see that because, again, we were all just speculating. And I know there was one person, Oblivious Benson, that does OSINT that kind of dug through that, but we didn't do a lot of work on that. I can't wait to see that.
Yeah, people looked at the Reddit stuff for individual things and the things he was talking about.
Yeah.
But there's a pattern in what he talks about, when he talks about it, and it all ties into everything he's doing in real life.
Well, I can't wait to see that.
It's basically a big diary for him.
Right. And we never saw Jen. Did you ever find Jen anywhere on any of those things? Does he talk about her? Is there anything about that or no?
Stay tuned for that one.
Okay. All right. And we could leave it at, Grish thinks in a fascinating way that, and you get the hindsight. People are, all about Grish in chat. So thank you for coming out and talking. You have a different perspective and you get to see things in hindsight. Now you get to look back and see it all. So that's good. I love that.
Yeah. Man, these next two videos are going to be pretty crazy.
I can't wait.
But the first one though, I'm telling you, it's going to be one of those. It's going to be. I'll tell you after this, but it's going to be a moment.
All right. Well, yeah, we can't wait for that. Somebody sent me something about patterns of Jen and other killer moms. Hey, that would be a good topic too. I really don't want Jen to be out of the spotlight.
Nah, she's gonna. Basically, what I found, she's gonna have a tough time talking this down.
Well, good. We want her arrested.
A tough time talking this down. Like, I'm serious. A Tamagotchi, a shoe, and a Reddit post.
Interesting.
You wouldn't believe what I got.
Well, we're waiting. We're impatiently waiting, and I can only imagine because you've got the way you think is we all love it,
Yeah, I'm wild like that, but but it makes sense though. You know what I mean? Like,
it does. Once you break it down for us, it does.
Yeah, and so back in the day, before like editing videos was a thing and all that, like I would tell people my ideas. They're like, "You are crazy," but like now I'm like, all right, I can edit a video on my phone and it makes sense.
Right.
Like, I can unscramble an egg. Like, I don't play.
Well, let's get it going. Let's get you, up there with all the subscribers, and then you'll get all the haters too. And we could all hang out together and let them hate, huh?
Man, here's the thing is a hater. It doesn't resonate with me so much. I have haters for other things.
Yeah.
But it's like y'all just look crazy. Like, I'm talking in real life.
No, like, I know.
Oh, on other projects, like I'm new to videos, but I'm not new to other things. I have haters, but I love it.
Yeah,
I need that. Like, do more, please, because that motivates me more. I'm self-motivated to an extent, but if you doubt or hate or anything like that, that is like, oh, let's go.
Hey,
let's go. I will make you look crazy in a video.
Ask and you shall receive, my friend. Don't worry, it'll come. YouTube is like that. You're gonna have all the fire you need.
Yeah, I got something. I got something.
Well, we can't wait.
So let me get back to work. I'll let you get back to your show. Thanks for having me. And
yeah, man, thank you so much. I appreciate you.
Yep.
Have a good one, and we're waiting for that to come out. Thank you.
Hit me up after your stream, though.
Okay, all right, I will.
All
I
right.
got you. All right, bye.
Yep. Peace.
All right, guys. I hope you guys got. I hope you guys got something out of the call. You guys are gonna patiently wait for some new content. I am impatiently waiting. I wish I would have put it in earlier, but I just got to pay this bill, and we'll get some more FOIA content. So after I get off the show, I'll do that. I'll call Grish. We're gonna try to I'll try to coordinate when he has things coming out that I can share, because we like to talk about it, right? I'm glad Grish does the videos, and I like that he does call-ins and stuff. So I'm gonna put this back on. Do you guys want to call in anymore? Or are we done for the day? Let me know in chat. Hit the like button. Subscribe if you haven't. Get a membership if you can. And we wanna go. If you guys want to go a little bit further, let me know. Phone lines are open. And thank you. I'm gonna see who it is.
Call from
Leanne.
Oh my goodness, my friend. All right, we're gonna accept Leanne. Hello, my friend. How you doing?
How are you doing?
I'm doing better now that you're calling.
Listen, I want people to know exactly what you do too on the backside, not just in front of the camera. And I think this is super important, because I was brought to you about 8 months ago from Duty Ron.
Right.
And what people don't know is that I was being stalked. And he said the safest place for me to be was on your channel.
Wow.
And yes. And he said, the way that you handle things, and he taught me a lot of things, and you taught me. And
well, thank you.
It just happened that my ex-husband's boss was murdered. The guy that did it, hitman, was allowed out. And I had no idea of how I was so open to certain things.
Right.
And between you, taught me safety, but taught me and to be myself. And I just wanted you to know how important you are in many different realms of this kind of thing. And it is so important to realize that there's a lot more going on than Maddie. We love her and we support her and all of the other cases. But there's things going on privately behind the scenes that you reported, no one knows about. And I just need to feel very important to let these people know how incredible you are.
Well, I appreciate it. Thank you so much. It's like you never think that people need to say that, because we talk openly, we're transparent around here. We don't try to hide things.
Right.
And we work well with each other. And somebody called me yesterday and said, Jay, I know there's a lot going on behind the scenes and whatever's happening, but you were one of the first people to say yes to pick up this case. People called me. They wanted me to represent it. They knew it was hard. No other stations were picking this up yet. And they asked me to. And I said, sure. Again, I was just, really new into this. I didn't realize, I thought everybody was my friend. And I took it. And it just feels good to be able to hear that and appreciate it, because on the flip side, it's much different. People are just like, it's just much different. So thank you, Leanne. I appreciate that.
And I want people to know that you are more than who you represent. And you are so much more. And I love you as a sister. And I am here as a supporter. So there you go.
Thank you. I appreciate you, Leanne. And we talk often, text, all that. So thank you. Thank you so much. And everybody else here, thank you.
You're welcome. And I'm there for you. I support your channel as well as you, my sister. So there you go.
Thank you, my Viking friend. Foxy's with you. Foxy's got the swords. All right, guys. If anybody else has anything, and thank you, Leanne. I appreciate it. She hung up. She hung up on me. Just kidding. She didn't really hang up. But all right, guys. If you guys are done, then we're done. We're an hour and 30 minutes in. I know people want to call in. Everyone has something to say about this case, but if you're done, then you're done. Emma says, or I hope I say it right. They mentioned in court the procedure to secure the phone from being hacked. They put it in airplane mode. Stinky tried to hack it when he left the hotel to his parents' place to their computer. Interesting. And they're going to look at all that. When I say they, the judge is going to look at all of the circumstances and then proceed. But I think Grish is right with stall tactics as well. Thank you, Peanut Butter. I appreciate you so much. Again, when I first started this, I had no idea what I was getting into at all. I said, okay, I was very optimistic and I trusted everybody. And now things are changing. All right. 408-538-1516. If you guys want to call in, talk about what you think Grish might have going on, what you guys, Teresa, I'll see you later. Any of this stuff. If not, then I'm out of here. I'm gonna go hang out with the fam, the pups, and all that fun stuff. All right, Lori says, why did the Detective Frank take Jen outside in the car to talk to her? Same detective that took Maddie's phone. I don't know how to answer that one, Lori. I think that's a bigger question. I think that it could be either a detailed answer. I'd like to have paperwork in front of me before I answer that question. But all right, guys, that being said, I totally thought you guys were gonna want to be in and do some more in this, but let me know if you guys, if somebody had said they were gonna send me something about Jen Soto. Did you guys? I absolutely love my Foxy Baubles. Yes, Jennifer B got her Foxy Baubles, guys. All right, I guess you guys are ready to go. If you're ready, I'm ready. I will be back on Monday. I'm gonna hop off here. I do want to double thank Lisa Fazio. Lisa, you're amazing. Thank you for everything that you always do. I really hope that you're feeling better. I know you got something going on that I see in chat, but I really am sending you good vibes, prayers. Lady for Justice says rolling in, might lose reception, TGIF. Nancy Jean, thank you so much. I do appreciate you. And I appreciate all the folks that understand what it takes to do this here, 5 days a week, try to bring new cases, juggle things, trying to stay transparent, trying to stay real with you guys, keep in touch, and do all the things do all the right things, right? And this, I'm trying to cover those cases even more. I'd like to cover Emily Pike even further, but I'd like new information. I appreciate you covering this story so much. Before I became a creator, I was asking so many people to cover this and they wouldn't. It broke my heart. I know it's hard to hear. And I didn't even think about that, Stolen Spirits, when the person told me yesterday that nobody was covering the case. They had asked. I was one of the only people besides the local news to cover it in the very beginning. I didn't even realize that until now. We're here, we're over a year in, and so many people have their claws in this case and they're pointing this way and that way at so many different things. But all right, Carly says, do you guys have a long weekend? What is there a long weekend for? Is it something in Canada? Something in Canada? She did not ask to look at his call log. All right. I'm not sure what that's in reference to. What about Naziah Harris? We're definitely going to continue covering Naziah Harris. We've got a huge list, my friend. We've got a huge list of cases to update. All right. Now, with Naziah's family, there's not a lot of new information other than like he said, she said. Thank you, blah, blah, blah. Christy says, let's talk, Jay. I don't know what you want to talk about, but let me know. You guys can guilty of crime by Jay@gmail.com. I don't try to hide any of my information. Go ahead and email me. Kaimani, of course, you guys, London Thomas, though. London Thomas. I don't think anybody knows about London Thomas that was in my chat because I put out a poll and I think 1% said cover London Thomas. And that sucked because London Thomas case, she went missing. We had some hope and then they found her dead. And I believe, now I don't know if Tiff, if you're still here, Tiff, but did they find her in a car? I think they found her in a car. Something like that. Okay. Oh. All right. That's funny. It's all good, Carly. That's all good. All right. Yeah, thank you so much. All right, guys. You guys have a wonderful weekend. We're done doing callers tonight. You have my email address. You want to talk, go ahead and email me guiltyofcrimebyj@gmail.com. You can get a hold of me that way. And I appreciate you all. Have a good night. All right. Josie, I tried to call. I have a question. Are cops allowed to alter the phone? No, they're not allowed to alter it, but look at the situation that we're in with the Karen Reed case, right? Look at the situation we're in with the Karen Reed case, just Josie. All right. We just don't know what they're going to do. All right. Yeah, we want to we want conversations, guilty of crime by j@gmail.com. There's no personal conversations on a live stream. I'm only on a live stream for an hour to an hour and a half a day. And then the other 23 hours, I'm available. Catch me on the other 23 hours if you want to talk about personal things. Otherwise, we're covering the Madeline Soto case today. Next week, we'll be covering the San Jose 2-year-old exorcism case and many others. So I love you guys. Have a good night. I meant to click, not quit. All right, guys. Love ya. Have a good one.
Guilty of crime.
I want to thank you for watching. If you enjoyed my content, please share this video, like, and subscribe. You can also follow me over at Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, X, or Gmail. If you'd like to donate to my channel, you can use Cash App or Venmo or PayPal. Thank you very much in advance. Guilty of crime.
Are you guilty of crime?